That's the wrong button. You know what? I can just do this. There we go.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for July 24th, 2023. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, I guess we'll talk about a PS5 Pro because we have to. I don't know. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Jordan Midler, everybody. Jordan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Jeff. There's no one I'd rather spend my day off with than you. So let's do this.
I love to hear it. Let's see here. I completely redid my office. Everyone might see this. There's a camera. Now you actually can't see it on this shot, but I didn't get my other camera, so my camera might be a little shaky. The entirety of this show might be a little shaky today, but I had to do it. It was.
You look like you're in the Sausalito basement. Like, it looks like a proper throwback. You've broken in there, and the big green screen's still up at the back.
Exactly. Yes, I put the green. That is now a privacy screen because occasionally a child might walk around without pants on, or my wife might come down in her pajamas, and I don't want them to like automatically be on the feed. So. That's up so they can come down and yell at me if they need to. That was the solution. But now I got like everything up against this one wall, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. A lot more space in here. But yeah, the basement's good to go. But I don't know how you been. It's been a minute since I had you on.
It has been. You've been running through these absolute no marks, trying to get them a break into the industry, forgetting who made you on this broadcast. But yeah, man, it's been good. It's been busy. I don't know if you've noticed, but Andy Robinson and Chris Scullion have been in Japan. Not that they've mentioned it.
What is wrong with them? They were in Japan. They were traveling so much. What are they doing?
Spending a lot of money. So they went to Bit Summit, which is an indie expo in Japan that VGC is a proud partner of. So they were out there, and then they just decided, you know what? It's very expensive to get to Japan. Let's just go all out.
Yeah,
which left me and Tom Ivan to steady the ship for 2 weeks. Mostly Tom Ivan, but you know, I'm here too.
So they were traveling. They weren't really, like did they treat it like a real vacation? There was no work.
No. They went to a different studio like every single day.
Oh my god,
the Slack was just like, I've just had a meeting with X, and I've just been in here. I'm removing names because I truly can't remember what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not. But yeah. They were very, very busy. Okay. Now they're back.
The only thing that matters, did Andy Robinson get scanned by Hideo Kojima in his magic soul capturing device?
I'm not at liberty to answer that, but if he did and I didn't, then I will be posting a Notes app screenshot on Twitter announcing my departure from VGC.
That's it's the only recourse you have here. It's the only thing you can do. All right, let's get into this mess. But first, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with PlayStation 5 Pro, Project Trinity details and release date. This is, I didn't write down who this was from. Oh, this is from Tom Henderson over at Key to Gaming. They worked together on this. Xbox chief Phil Spencer stated that Microsoft has no plans for a mid-gen refresh for the Xbox Series X and S due to lacking feedback. Digital Foundry revealed the Xbox Series X is considered the current Gen Pro offering by Microsoft. But despite Xbox's stance, anonymous sources claim the PlayStation 5 Pro, codenamed Trinity, is in development. Trinity has been in development since early 2022 with demo events and the development kits provided to the studios. PlayStation 5 Pro aims to improved and consistent frames per second at 4K resolution and a new performance mode for 8K resolution, as well as accelerated ray tracing. The PS5 Pro is targeting a November 2024 release date. Trinity is likely PlayStation's final major hardware release for this generation because it's going to kick off the next generation around 2028 with the PlayStation 6. Those are the details, Jordan. What do you think about this?
I think this makes sense when you look at the context of when they released Pro consoles against the PlayStation 4 generation, people have this mind blank because the first 2 years of the generation were in the pandemic, but time-wise, it makes all the sense in the world to get to the Pro stage. I think it's so funny that the PlayStation 5 was advertised as, oh, we can do a bit of 8K as well, and now the entire thing is this will be the PlayStation 5 Pro's selling point. I think Microsoft would respond just because it looks bad to not have one, even if power-wise there's some amount of parity. For them not to come out and go, here's the Xbox Series X Pro that's a bit of a bump would look strange. But yeah, do these dates sound right to you? 24 and then a little bit later to get to the PlayStation 6?
Yeah, they mostly sound right. Like, let's see, where are we at? This November would have been what, like getting into the 4th year, because this generation started in 2020, so yeah, we'd be starting the 4th year.
Yeah,
and that is when we did get right, because the PlayStation 4 came out in 2013. And then in 2017, we got the Pro. That sounds right. So, yeah, okay. So, on that timeline, that makes sense. I mean, as gamers...
We got the PlayStation 4 Pro in 2016, so it was only 3 years.
Yeah, right. That's
PS4.
okay. That's what I was like, because it was 3 years. And then the Xbox One X came out in 2017. That's what it was. Okay, so yeah. I mean, still, though, they're not in some super rush to get out the Pro, because things are different than last generation. These systems are much better off in terms of power. No one's really complaining all that much about frame rate. For the most part, most games do come out and are 60 frames per second. There are obvious exceptions at this point. No one is out there getting... No one's talking about their 8K TV. No one's like, oh, we got to go out and upgrade to my 8K TV. I just said 8K, Jordan, I just said
I love an 8K TV.
I love an 8K TV. It's like that's what was happening last generation with the PS4. Is that people were everyone was buying a new TV, and people were like, well, I'm going to take advantage of this thing. It's got 4K 120. Like, where is that? And then those were the features, the buzzwords that Sony and then Microsoft latched onto to sell the Pro systems. And even with all those buzzwords, like helping out, because that's like a huge thing that you sell these things on with it, that forced obsolescence of, hey, you should feel bad about not having the latest stuff. Even with all that in mind, those Pro systems didn't do that great. They sold, but like the things that sold the best were the base models. Like they continue to sell better like throughout the generation. So yeah, they shouldn't be rushing. And so next year makes some sense if they are committed to this. The thing that continues not to make sense to me is I don't see a world in which the PS5 base model, the Slim, whatever, gets a price cut. I suppose that's what the Slim model that might replace both current models might be, is it won't have a disk drive, so they're going to cut the price on it a little bit, and then that will leave a gap at $500, and that's where the Pro comes in. But so Sony does not have to lower the price if they don't want to. The thing is still selling as fast as ever. It's going to continue to sell faster. So why put yourself in this situation where you're going to like move stuff down and then slot this back in at $500, unless the PS5 Pro is $600 or $550. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I do wonder if you get to the point where something Sony backed into, because there was no way this is intentional, was they made the PlayStation 5 like a hype object. It was almost like a pair of sneakers in terms of like how excited people were to get it. It dominated TikTok. It dominated social media in a way that the Xbox Series X never did. It was never, I got an Xbox Series X surprise for Christmas, or Mr. Beast bought me 500 Xbox Series X's, etc. So a PlayStation 5 Pro instantly refreshes that in like the consumer's minds of like, okay, this is the hot new item, alongside their 2024 games, which are what, like Wolverine, something big like that. Maybe the new Cory Barlog thing by that point, Ghost of Tsushima 2 by that point.
I mean,
like, you imagine
an update for Spider-Man will like move the needle for people. Like, oh, this is even better ray tracing and all that stuff. So yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe that Last of Us 2 remake that Gustavo Santaolalla was talking about is getting lined up for the Pro. But yeah, I think you want a console that people who just play FIFA, just play FC, just play Call of Duty get every year, and then you want the kind of the gamer machine, the hottest, newest, the thing that enthusiasts are going to buy and kind of preach about. So I think 2024 makes sense. But yeah, the PS5, I don't know what it's like in the US, but PS5 is pretty easy to get in the UK now. You can just walk into a shop and get it.
I've walked into shops and I've seen it, and that was the first time that really happened was about a month ago, where it was like, oh, there's like 5 on the shelf actually.
Yeah. So, but in the UK specifically, if you look at the sales data outside of the month where Zelda came out and blew everything up, the PS5 is still dominating and still selling really, really well. So I don't know. I think the idea that the lower price console wouldn't have a disc drive also tracks when you look at how rapid the change to digital has been this generation.
Yes, especially in a lot of key markets. I mean, the UK especially, like that the markets shifted to digital so fast. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I wonder if would there ever be a situation where there's like a regional variant where the cheaper model has a disc drive in some regions and in some doesn't. That maybe be a nightmare to actually put together. But
doesn't sound like Sony.
The thing about these console revisions is we probably won't hear anything official until they're ready to go, because as soon as you talk about them, you cannibalize all those PS5s on the shelf. I don't know if you remember, but it was either the PS5 Pro or the Slim, someone can correct me in chat, was found in a shop before it was announced, and it was like opened on YouTube and stuff like that. And then the next week they were like, I remember that. Here you go, it's out. So yeah, I think everything is pointing in this direction. I think they will announce it in a typically Sony way that makes everyone go, oh, what are we doing here? Why? It might just be a Jim Ryan talking head at the end of the next PlayStation showcase, which we're announcing today. And he'll go, we have a new powerful I'll do the voice. We have a new powerful console for you coming next year. And then that's it. And we hear nothing about it.
Yeah. I mean, all that sounds right to me. I think the point about the gamer console, the gamer machine, I mean, that's how these things work, right? I mean, Nintendo's done that from the beginning of refreshing what they have available, whether that is with slimmed down versions of their consoles, more powerful version of their consoles, different variations on the aesthetics of their consoles, whatever it is. Those systems are always aimed at, not always, there are some exceptions, but for a long time now, they've been aimed at their most hardcore fans, the people that are most likely to buy hardware at the start of a generation. Those are the same people who are most likely to buy a Pro model or a new 3DS or whatever. And then all those people either sell their old systems or they put them in storage or whatever. But either way, you're making new hardware sales to the people most likely to make hardware sales. And then you get other systems out there in the channel by secondhand sales and stuff like that. So that model like works, and I think that Sony wants to exploit that as much as possible. And so it makes sense. And it makes sense from that side. It's just the PS5 Pro doesn't make a ton of sense to me, just based on looking at the games and where we're at, and feeling like we haven't even gotten close to taking advantage of this system yet, of this generation yet. But by late 2024, that could change. We'll get Spider-Man. We'll get a few other things that are PS5 only. And then by then it's like, okay, and then we're adding something else on top of this. And here's a game that's going to take a lot of advantage of this. I do wonder what those buzzwords they're going to fall back on, because if they fall into 8K and even ray tracing, which is what the story says, both of those are pretty poor buzzwords in terms of convincing people to get excited. 8K especially, people I think are having a come to Jesus moment about the diminishing returns there, where it's like, I guess I saw a pretty big difference between 1080 and 4K, and I think some people do and some people don't, but either way, but between 4K and 8K, it is very difficult to tell the difference. And I think people are like, I'm happy with my 4K TV. I just bought this thing in the last couple of years. I don't buy a TV every year. I buy one every 10 years, and I'm nowhere near to thinking about buying a new one. And so Sony kind of going this route of like, we are going to do this same playbook. I just don't know that playbook is as strong this generation as it was last time.
Yeah, you don't have that wave that you had when everyone was buying the LG. That is like one of them is sitting on my desk right now. Like, you don't have that thing where we have the default 8K TV, and I don't think we will for a long time. If we weren't in this line of work, are you the type of person that buys a Pro console when it comes out?
It depends. I think the Nintendo systems, I always end up talking myself into do it because I'm a fucking sucker. But the other ones, last generation, probably yes. This generation, I would probably not. They would have to really convince me, because I'm already not playing my consoles that much anyhow. I play mostly on PC, Steam Deck, and Switch. That's primarily where I'm gaming. And then I show up for the exclusives on the consoles. So yeah, they would have to really convince me. I don't know. How about you?
Yes, because I'm an idiot. But so the last time they did this refresh, I wasn't in this game quite yet. So I went out and got it straight away because I was convinced by the newest, greatest, all that stuff. And yeah, I could maybe be talked into a PlayStation 5 refresh if they were like, okay, Returnal, the best game of the generation, it looks even better. I could play that. But for the Xbox, and this is going to do me no favors on X, but I feel like there hasn't been enough time with my Xbox to upgrade it.
Of course,
and I felt that way. I felt that way about the Xbox One when I got the Series. What was that? The One X.
The One X.
Worst naming convention of all time.
Sure,
but I thought the One X was an amazing system, not just because it was the weight of like a paving brick that you could kill someone with, and I played a lot of that. So I don't know. I would, obviously, in our situation, if they do these consoles, they will appear at our house, and it's a weird situation where we can't be like, oh, we recommend you go out and get a £600 thing because I paid hee-haw for it. But
yeah, it's gonna show up at Jeff Backelar's house. Fuck that. That's what's gonna happen.
Oh,
to me.
is that where all the good stuff goes over there?
I just assume, yeah, probably.
The good stuff goes to Andy Robinson unless he decides he can't be bothered.
Yeah,
reviewing
exactly.
It,
I can't deal with that right now. Oh, cool. Thank you for your scraps, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
But yes, I almost certainly think this is true. And then we're going to get the Project Q Pro in 2050.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Q here in a second because there's some more details about that I think are relatively. Not exciting. Exciting is never the word for the Q, but we'll get to it. It looks like Insomniac is working on a third game alongside Spider-Man and Wolverine. This comes from Andy Robinson at VGC, finally getting back to work. PlayStation's Insomniac Games is working on a third unannounced title in addition to Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. That's according to a live stream held by the Full Sail University last September, which is just now being circulated on social media. In the stream, project director Aaron Eberhardt claimed they were helming an unannounced project at the studio. Eberhardt previously worked on PlayStation Now and Sony Interactive Entertainment, as well as Blizzard's esports initiative. This is actually my first AAA game project now. I'm the project director here on the unannounced project, Eberhardt said on the stream. I'm very excited to actually be making the games now. Eberhardt joined Insomniac just before the studio began advertising for a multiplayer project. Insomniac is officially working on a pair of Marvel titles, but it's best known for the Ratchet & Clank series, the last entry of which released in 2021. Outside of those franchises, Insomniac also worked on 2014's Xbox exclusive Sunset Overdrive. In 2021, Sunset Overdrive was successfully registered by Sony at the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Although the trademark register isn't indicative of any plans to revive the game, it coincided closely with Sunset Overdrive's director rejoining Insomniac the same year. What do you think this is? Do you think it's a return to a previous IP, or do you think it's something new?
Ratchet and Clank, baby.
Yeah,
I think it's almost certainly Ratchet and Clank. You don't generate enough interest in an IP that Sony greenlights a film and then only do one game after that, and especially after how good Rift Apart was. It's the next Ratchet.
I hope so.
I'm almost certain of this. I think the Sunset Overdrive believers, I feel for you. There's a lot of games that I'd love to come back that no people played either. But if that was ever going to happen, Sony would negotiate getting the first game out to gauge interest. They are not in the business of just dropping a Sunset Overdrive 2 anymore. It's bankable IPs for Sony, and that's it. It's Wolverine, it's Spider-Man, it's Ratchet and Clank. So yeah, well, I think it's Ratchet.
That's my question. Is Ratchet and Clank a bankable IP? How well did that last game really do? I don't know. It seemed like it did okay, but it was a PS5 exclusive, and maybe that held back sales. So you think now that there's more PS5s out there, another Ratchet and Clank game could really like meet those expectations a little bit better?
Yeah, and I also think it's a game that Sony loves putting on the adverts because it's their family game. It's their thing that's like soft and cuddly, and it fits into the portfolio really well in terms of you do a PlayStation 5 advert and it's The Last of Us, even though those games came out on the PlayStation 4. It's God of War, it's all this kind of hardcore stuff. It's Spider-Man, but there's cuddly Ratchet and Clank doing a bit of fun shit. So yeah, I think that also Insomniac clearly just love working on Ratchet because those games are like so incredibly polished and so well made. Like, I think it would be another Ratchet. Maybe they do Spider-Man, Wolverine, Ratchet, and then Spider-Man 3, and that's how they end it off for the generation. Because I bet they do Spider-Man games until Marvel like rips it out of their hands.
I mean, the way that these games sell,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the idea of them no longer working on there would have to be a pretty big drop off from 2 to 3, because I expect 2 to be the biggest game of this generation. The instant it launches, in terms of a exclusive for either the PS5 or the Xbox Series X and S, it's going to be massive.
Oh yeah, that's going to be the game on like buses and billboards and stuff like that. That will be the real kind of the halftime of the Champions League game, because it's so easily sellable. I wonder if that translates to Wolverine, because obviously people know who Wolverine is from like the Hugh Jackman films and stuff like that. He's probably in the top 10 most recognizable superheroes. You'd maybe say top 10, top 15, but he's not like Spider-Man. So I wonder if that will carry over when that game comes out.
Wolverine's definitely X-Men Spider-Man, right? In terms, but it's like, yeah, is he on that? I don't know. I feel like if you were to do a top 5 most recognizable superheroes, Wolverine would be up there. I think he would be in the top 5.
Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, then maybe Wolverine.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's
the Avengers, though. The Avengers kind of changed that.
Yeah, that's true. The Avengers kind of changed that. He's hovering in that zone, though, I think. He has the potential to easily be in that top 5 with a little bit of shine from a Deadpool 3, and then this game. But
can't wait. Deadpool 3, what a hilarious film that's going to be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
The writerless Deadpool 3.
Yeah, listen, we don't, AI can do Deadpool jokes. I mean, it basically already has been for years. So, I'll say that, like, the thing with Ratchet and Clank, your point about, Insomniac loves making those games. I think Sony's just like, this is our family game because this is the studio we can have go make a family game, and it doesn't like disrupt everything else. Like the idea of having Naughty Dog go and work on a Jack and Daxter, and be like, and that's going to take resources away from the other stuff that they're doing. Hell, no way. Then not a chance in hell. Ratchet and Clank, that's Insomniac. They know what they're doing. They can juggle these things. It'll be fine. They're still going to get us Spider-Man and Wolverine back to back. So it's like, okay, that's a studio we can trust with this and be like, okay, and we know the game's going to come out and it's going to be great because it's Insomniac and it's Ratchet and Clank. So yeah, I think you're probably right. The idea that it is multiplayer, that is not something that's new to that franchise. They've done stuff with that before, right?
Yeah,
was it all for one? I can't remember the names of their games, but like, yeah, there was a couple of them that they did that seemed to have an emphasis on multiplayer. So I came to Ratchet and Clank pretty late, but yes, so I could see them thinking that that's something that they want to do something with. Am I making up the multiplayer thing? Is that something that's not in here? Because I could have swore that's something that they said, but maybe not. Maybe I'm making that up. Okay, fair enough. Let's move on here. Tencent is the majority shareholder of the creators of Dying Light. This comes from Grushchek at ppe.pl. Are you? Nope, you don't hear me? All right, you know what? I'm going to start reading this, and then when he comes back, hopefully we can take it from there. Tencent is the majority shareholder of the creators of Dying Light. Again, this is from Grushchek at ppe.pl. Dying Light and Dying Light 2 were successful games, attracting the attention of Tencent. Tencent has become the majority shareholder of Techland, a renowned Polish gaming studio known for producing high-quality games like Dying Light. Can you hear me, Jordan?
I certainly can.
Hello. Oh, there it is. I was like, how do I communicate that? I think this is your fault. I don't know.
I was absolutely nothing to do with me. The second that one Mike Minotti appears, his head rendered in the chat, and then it all breaks apart. Come on now. Think about it. Follow the money.
Very good point. Of course, you're absolutely right about this. Let's continue. Techland aims to transform Dying Light into an exceptional zombie adventure with new solo and online modes. Tencent's partnership will provide resources and expertise to realize Techland's ambitious dreams for the games. Techland will retain full ownership and creative freedom over their titles. Meanwhile, the collaboration will accelerate the development of new gaming projects, including a secret action RPG. Techland has a strong reputation for taking in player feedback and developing successful games. Tencent has previously invested in the Ubisoft Bloober team and a whole bunch of others. This is that just to let you guys know, that was translated from Polish, just so in case it sounded a little bit awkward there. That was on the translation. Tencent investing into another studio. This is what they do. This is not too surprising. They are looking for opportunities, and Techland was one that was an opportunity for somebody, whoever was going to come along. Because as much as Dying Light 2 didn't really do it for me, that is clearly a studio that could still make big games, independently for the most part, And that is relatively rare these days. And so if you are one of these bigger companies looking to put your money somewhere, Techland's a relatively safe bet. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good investment. I would say. I think that Dying Light is a game that, second one specifically, didn't do amazing critically, but I feel like the player consensus, it has a bit of the, what the hell is it? Days Gone, a truly hateful game that is somehow got this second life of people.
You just hate
like,
it because the biker looked at his wife's ass because they're married and love each other. You just can't handle that.
Look, as the internet's biggest Sony fanboy, the fact that I hate Days Gone really goes down poorly with a section of my Twitter following.
Oh,
but it's one of these games that when it comes up on like social media or TikTok or something, all the comments are like, "This game is sick. Let's get a new one of this." When you go and read the reviews and people are like, it's kind of tired, it's kind of derivative. And I thought Dying Light 2 was fun to a point.
Yes,
but
I agree.
But it's, as you say, it's a big game. They got like Rosario Dawson and shit in there. Like it's a big game that you don't see from a studio of Techland's. Techland's not like a small studio by any sense, but you don't think of them as a massive studio, as like one of these of like a Ubisoft tier or something like that. So if Tencent can pump money in for what I presume will be a Dying Light 3, or I don't know how that second one's sold to be honest, but what is possibly a Dying Light 3, that could be interesting. And I do, in the acquisition era, I always thought that Techland was kind of a good nominee for someone to pick up, but maybe it just doesn't fit in the portfolios because Sony has open world games, Microsoft has 250,000 studios. Like maybe we're kind of falling off.
Conservative there,
yeah. Maybe that's kind of fallen off a bit, but yeah, the more of these independent-ish studios get kind of a big chunk of investment without being taken over, it can only be a good thing, really.
Yeah, I think it's it's the kind of thing where like these companies should get their money when they can, and selling off a majority stake while also continue to operate the way you want to, which is typically how Tencent does this. Typically, Tencent says, we just want to have our finger in the pie. We don't want to be calling the shots. We're going to sit back and let you, for the most part, continue to operate the way you want, and we will provide some resources. It's not going to be ongoing investment, but it's the big investment up front. And then if you want access to the Chinese market, we can help with that. And that's a relatively good deal for these companies looking at the Chinese market. The Chinese market's very hard to get into. Tencent is your one key, basically, to that territory. And in the meantime, like this is money that could serve them as they try to expand. I mean, they're almost certainly gonna work on a Dying Light 3 in the next several years. Dying Light 2 will get a lot of updates before then. And they're also working on a whole new other game that's a new IP, or a secret RPG. They say. I'm assuming it's a new IP. That's going to take new money, probably spinning up a new studio or something like that. So yeah, this investment will help them make even more games, and that's the whole idea here. Without having to get acquired or sell off the rights to your studio entirely. So yeah, Tencent, one of these companies that it's a Chinese company. There's issues there, but also take their money, whatever. It's hard for me to judge anyone who's just like getting paid and whatever. Like, get that money and move on, make more games. Fair enough. PlayStation's Project Q handheld runs Android according to leaked images. This comes from Jordan Midler at VGC. I don't trust it. Several images of PlayStation's upcoming Project Q handheld have appeared online. The images, which were initially posted to Imager and then later circulated on social media, show the handheld as well as the internal components of the machine. The images also appear to confirm that the machine will be Android-based. This could mean that Project Q could theoretically be modded to run other game streaming clients such as GeForce Now or Amazon Luna. All the kids always talk about that Amazon Luna.
Announced on Luna.
Yep, I found my Luna controller the other day. I'm like, how do I even use this goddamn thing? Announced during the PlayStation Showcase event earlier this year, Project Q is described as a dedicated device that enables you to stream any game from your PS5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi. According to SIE, the device has an 8-inch 1080p HD screen and all the buttons and features of the DualSense wireless controller. While Sony is yet to announce an official release date for Project Q, court filings from Microsoft during the recent Activision Blizzard case suggest that it's expected to launch later this year. Well, yeah, okay. Android on the Project Q makes sense. I'm not too surprised by that. It's a little bit, it's kind of nice because it's like, okay, this thing is not just a dummy device that's going to sit there and connect to my PlayStation and that's it. So it's going to go into a drawer like pretty fast. It's like, oh, I could put emulators and ROMs on here at the very least.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's kind of neat. That's nice to have another one of those. I don't have enough of those, only like 10 or 11. So why not get another one? It helps justify the purchase, I think, a little bit. But also, I think that might signify that this isn't going to be some special connection to the PlayStation 5. So if you were hoping for a new wireless protocol where it's like, oh, this is going to work even better than the app on your phone, I doubt it. This is basically just another phone with a goddamn DualSense attached to the side. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's a hilarious looking machine. I think it will go down as one of the strangest decisions of this generation from Sony, and I wonder if it's Sony hardware shaking the tail of Sony games.
Almost certainly.
Yes.
I try, like, every time stuff like stories like this come up, I always try to tell people, like, that is Sony these days, where it's like PlayStation is massive, and then everyone else at Sony kind of wants a piece of the PlayStation pie. I keep using pie today, but they want a piece of that, and that is so. That's what happened with PSVR 2. I think is that the Sony hardware wagged the dog. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it'll all come down to the price. I don't think there's any way they price this in a way that people are like, oh yeah, maybe I'll get one. But as you mentioned, even if you can put emulators and crap like that on it, I got the ROG Ally for review recently, and I was sat there putting all these emulators on it for like the 10th time, and I was like, I cannot be bothered doing this anymore. Like, I have so many devices that just do this thing, including my fucking PC. So yeah, I wonder where it goes. Is it a really limited run on PlayStation Direct? They just make the absolute minimum of them?
I hope so, because I'm definitely going to buy one, and I want it to be a rare collector's item. I don't want this to be popular. I want this to be a rare thing that I have.
I've got a PlayStation Vita TV sitting behind me. Like, I've got any PlayStation Vita.
I got one in the drawer back there,
I bought that for about £10, and because people then realized you could do like fun shit with them.
Oh yeah,
they're actually worth a decent amount. So yeah, I will definitely pick one of these up and just look at it. It looks like one of the most snap over the knee-able pieces of electronics I've ever seen, because it's just this big plate.
It's begging. It's not just like bend over the knee. It's begging for it. It wants you to destroy it. It's like, please fuck me up, is what it looks like. I hate and love looking at it at the same time. It is an absurd piece of hardware, and I love it for that. I mean, that's their design philosophy this generation. Just make things as absolutely cumbersome and like the accessories. You know, these accessories companies that as soon as the hardware for the new iPhones and stuff are announced, they have cases up on Amazon for it. They must have seen this thing and been like, we're just not bothering, because you would need all the plastic on the earth to try and make a case for this thing. Like, where do we even begin with this? This is like an impossible design. It's what's that? The MC Escher nightmare. Yes, that's what it looks like. I love it. I can't wait for it. I want it real bad. So you looked at this these images. Was Google Play Store popping up anywhere? Because that's not necessarily a part of Android. You don't have to include the Play Store if you are using a very bespoke version of Android. Like, that's what happens in China and with some like specialized phones and stuff and specialized devices. Did you see Google Play Store on there?
So I didn't see that specifically, but it's like they opened a sub menu and tons of icons came up, including what looked like the PlayStation Store and then a bunch of ancillary stuff. And I don't know if that's just like a debug menu or like the dev facing stuff, because it looked very, very early. So I don't know. I'm sure it'll be very easy to do weird stuff with this.
I mean, at the very, like, you could sideload it. I mean, that's why I prefer Android. Is like once a year I need to sideload something on here, and I don't want to jailbreak my phone. So it's like, Android is pretty open to that stuff. So yeah, you'd be able to do that, and you could like install the third-party stores and things like that. But Google Play would make it very easy. I bet Google Play will just be on there. These days, that just usually happens even with devices like this. And Sony
sell those PlayStation mobile games they used to sell like 10 years ago in the PlayStation 3 era, bring them back over. All that weird. For some reason, it was easier to get PlayStation 1 games on a mobile phone 10 years ago than it is now to get them on the PlayStation 5. I love it.
All right, let's see here. According to photos taken in Japan storefronts, Armored Core 6 will support up to 6-player multiplayer plus 3 spectators. These details come from the back of a box that was going around online. I saw this on Reddit. We're still waiting to get all the details about Armored Core 6, but a look at its box is revealing some extra information. For example, the game apparently has multiplayer that supports up to 6 people at the same time. That's according to an icon on the back of the box in Japan, which notes that online multiplayer feature, and then has a 2 to 6 number on there, implying 2 to 6 players. It's a From game. From games always at this point have some form of multiplayer. Armored Core 6 seems ideal for some sort of direct, almost team deathmatch style thing. Like I've said before, I haven't played much Armored Core. I've never played it online. If it's had it before, I don't know what kind of features to expect. But I think that this is, yet another thing. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll check. I'm going to check this game out. That sounds pretty cool. Has Armored Core 6 had online multiplayer in the past that you're aware of, Jordan?
I'm not entirely sure. The Armored Core series has kind of passed me by, but I'm interested.
Real quick, Siegfried in chat says that it's had multiplayer since PS1. That sounds right. Okay.
So this is kind of expected, but I'm just curious in terms of like, so From games are obviously full of bullshit, like full of stuff that when it's a single player game, you're like, okay, fine, I'm fighting against the game. But that in a multiplayer situation, come on now.
This is the spectator mode up to 3 people so that you can watch these battles. Lexi in chat says people are very excited about that. Okay. I'll sit there and watch some big robots fight.
You like to sit there and watch, don't you, Jeff?
I like to watch. Give me my PS4 2 so I can get in there and watch. You know what I'm talking about, Jordan.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want to see happen. That's the kind of thing. I like shoutcasting. That's fun, and I like the idea of shoutcasting giant robot fights. I really do hope it's like the spectator mode does support PSVR 2. It seems like, who knows, probably won't. But that would be cool to like sit in there in a little chair and look up and just watch these giant robots beat each other up. That sounds pretty hot to me. Okay, Blizzard has promised better Diablo 4 patches going forward. This comes from Bean Leon at Game Reactor. Just ahead of Season of the Malignant, the first seasonal update for Diablo 4, Blizzard had released a massive update that addressed pretty much every aspect of the action RPG. When the mega patch notes dropped, it didn't take long for players to start sharing their opinions on the changes, something which led to a protest of sorts on rating platforms, where the game's user review scores dropped significantly. Blizzard has since commented on these actions by fans and said that the patch was both bad and that it will never do something similar in the future again. We're bad, and we will never do it again. We're so sorry. We're gonna flog ourselves here. As part of the recent Fireside Chat developer stream, community manager Adam Fletcher said, "We want to acknowledge everyone's feedback in regard to reducing player power. We know it is bad. We know it is not fun. We also want to talk about what we were trying to achieve specifically with this patch and with the changes that players ended up seeing. And then separately, we do not want to also talk about how we don't plan to do. We do want to also talk about how we don't plan on doing a patch like this ever again. The idea for the patch was to make the game more fun, but this clearly did not end up being the case. To this end, Blizzard promises to correct a few different parts of the game that changed with the patch, including legendary aspects for Sorcerer and Barbarian, more stash space, bigger stack sizes, and more thrilling nightmare dungeons. The catch will be that this next patch will need a little more time to roll out." That's all that sounds like. Okay, that's the correct reaction to the first patch. I know with Diablo 3, apparently the sort of philosophy that the Blizzard had was only buffs. Everything just gets buffs. That's how we're going to solve problems, so that we don't make people feel bad about debuffing their stuff and nerfing the characters they work so hard on. They came out of the gate trying to reverse that and set a new tone, and it backfired on them big time. They are almost certainly probably going to go back to that buffs only going forward, at least for the most, unless in extreme cases something is completely overpowered. I imagine most things are just going to get buffs to try to level things out and make things better. So I don't know. How do you feel about Diablo 4 these days?
Well, I've completed it once and got very close on my second character, because during the review period we had the game for a long time, and then they completely wiped the character. So my sorcerer, not sorcerer, who was it? The cat, I can't remember the specific.
Necromancer.
Necromancer is the one that has the. Cause my character is called Taylor Swift, and my little skeleton people are the Swifties.
Oh, of course, so, yes, yeah, of course. Just like real life.
Just like real life. Still annoyed I couldn't get Ida's tour tickets. Anyway, yeah, I think that it's really interesting for them to be so like instantly fall on their sword, not try and defend it, not try and style it out, just be like, okay, it's fine. We know they were probably like people really like this game, and we've been taking fat L's for about 40 years at this point.
Please, so let's just have one W.
Yeah, let's nourish this as much as nurture this as much as possible. So in that sense, the Diablo community kind of has a lot of power because they're being very reactive to them. But as you mentioned, the issue is those couple of weeks where it's still like this, the atrophy of goodwill and the drop off of players just after you've started like a seasonal event, like that's pretty brutal. So I imagine it's much lighter changes going forward, kind of kid gloves approach, and taking ideas to the players and be like, please, can we please do this? Which is kind of a dangerous precedent, but it's nice to see developers be like, okay, let's not mess this up entirely.
Yes, I think you nailed it though. They had a W after a series of L's. They want to just get back to that. They want to feel that W again. They want that feeling so bad, and I don't blame them. Like, I mean, that's the business that a studio like Blizzard is creating good feelings around the company and their games generally. That was something they couldn't help but do back in the day. It was like, oh, everything they're putting out, everything they do, Blizzard is God. We love Blizzard and everything that they do. And these days it's the exact opposite. So if they can recapture that magic even a little bit, they are going to do everything it takes to kind of get back there as best they can. I think a game like Diablo, yeah, you want it to be an ongoing success, and you want to keep people attached, and you want to be designing the game in a way that it makes money in the long term. But it's actually better off if you just get those upfront sales and people feel good about it, so the next time you do something, they show up and they're ready to be happy again. And so try not to mess that up. And that this, they started going down the route of messing that up a little bit. Now I think people overreacted a tiny bit, but whatever. That's what people do with their games. So you got to just deal with that. And Blizzard is definitely dealing with it. All right. Let's hit a couple more stories here. Leaker claims SEGA is bringing back Altered Beast and the Gunstar Hero franchise. This comes from My Nintendo News, who says video game leaker Special Nick has said on the latest edition of the Xbox Era podcast that SEGA is planning to bring back a couple of older beloved franchises. Speaking on the podcast, he claimed that SEGA is planning to bring back both Altered Beast and Gunstar Heroes, both of which were popular on the Sega Genesis, despite it saying Mega Drive here. Sega has previously said they are looking to delve into their back catalog, and today Forever Entertainment teased that they have a new remake project in the works. If anything transpires, we'll let you know. Okay, Gunstar Heroes, yes. Altered Beast, really? We're gonna do Altered Beast? What's the take on Altered Beast over in the UK?
So honestly, these are like really old man games.
Okay, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, like Altered Beast is you maybe see a copy of Altered Beast at a car boot sale, but there's not something it's not living long in the memory over here. Apart from my rule to never trust Australians, I feel like there is a good chance that this happens just because Sega's got a bit of a confidence now. It's just like everything we seem to do just now seems to be okay, and that ebbs and flows. There will be a crash where we get back to like Sonic 06 Sega, but until then, bring stuff back. Why not? Like, even if it means you just have to speedrun getting Yakuza 9 or whatever to get people happy again. Like,
right. Then you have a backup plan.
This might be they've went to a couple of indies and said, do you fancy doing anything with either of these? And then they come back and slap the Sega name on them. I don't think there's a internal team at Sega working on this stuff.
This is not like the time when we got like Bionic Commando from Capcom in the Xbox 360
His wife's
era.
In the arm. His wife is in the arm. Did you get it?
Why? His wife's in the arm, guys. This is art. I mean, listen, I would love that if we were getting like that kind of Altered Beast. We don't live in that world anymore. So I think you're right. They're just probably working with relatively smaller teams. Gunstar Heroes truly is a classic game. It is truly something special. It's a treasure shooter action game. The best game on the Genesis, like the best one, period, like by far. And so, bring that back and honestly just kind of make it that same game again. Just update it with new levels, new characters, new abilities, that stuff, and I will be happy. So I hope this is true. That would be very cool. I would love to see that. I think you're right, though. Sega is in that hey, we can pull these things off, and we've had success with these things before, so let's keep doing it. And I'm like, oh yeah, fine, mind those catalogs. Ubisoft under fire for robbing people of their games. This comes from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. It was recently confirmed by Ubisoft that if you don't use your account for a certain period of time, it will be closed and you'll lose all your games along with it. Whether you've spent $1 or $1,000, you'll be stuck in the same boat without any games to play. It's safe to say this approach has been lambasted online, with gamers likening the process to a car you buy blowing up if you don't use it in 30 days. If you've not been using your Ubisoft account for a while, then you'll get an email asking you to log in within 30 days or risk losing your account. Failure to log in means you're done, basically. Anything you bought through your Ubisoft account will be removed alongside all your hours logged, achievements on the company's platform, etc. It seems that even if you buy a game nowadays, that doesn't necessarily mean you get to own it forever. Yeah. This is just dumb. This is like your Ubisoft. It is in your best interest to get people to feel confident about buying games digitally, because you make more money if you sell them digitally. Why feed into this idea that, which is, there's definitely a lot of truth to it, but why feed into it that the owning games digitally is nebulous and a little bit more scary than owning them physically? Why would you do that? Even if it costs you money, like, that's the price of doing business. You're being fucking stupid. I don't get it. Jordan, what do you think?
So, just in the interest of the entirety of this story, the stated reason for this is because of GDPR restrictions. Like, Ubisoft claim that because of this, they have to at some point get rid of accounts, even if you've not signed in. And they claim that the grace period is 4 years. So 4 years goes by like nothing, obviously, especially if you're not really playing anything big on Ubisoft's PC platform. It's so stupid. It will affect a vanishingly small amount of people, but the fact that it affects anyone is ridiculous. I bet they sort this out, because there are some provisions in the GDPR which means you can have accounts active indefinitely, at least in like a deactivated state. So that's what happens on Steam, or there was another one I looked up. It was maybe EA or something like that. They will, or it was Epic Game Store. If your account is deemed inactive, they will like change the name and hide it, but you can always revive it. So I think that was something they probably have to have a think about doing.
Right.
But obviously, when you see on Twitter people being like, Ubisoft's closing my account today because I've not played any of my games, and people like fucking freak out about it. Yeah, it's a silly situation.
Yeah. I am positive that the GDPR would provide an exception for you keeping your game purchases that you've made. Now, some people in chat are claiming that this is a bug. If we'll update tomorrow if that's the case. We'll do a show tomorrow, and I'll reach out to Ubisoft and see what they say. But I haven't seen that anywhere so far. And then other people are saying it only affects accounts that don't have game purchases, which, okay. Well, if that's the case, we'll see. Ubisoft can just like come out and clarify 100%. If that's the case, we'll update the story tomorrow if that's the case. All right. Let's hit this last one here. Mortal Kombat 1 adds Li Mei. Is it Li Mei? Tanya and Baraka as part of the DLC Kombat Pack roster announcement. This comes from Sal Romano at Gamatsu. Publisher Warner Brothers Games and developer NetherRealm Studios have released the Umgadi trailer for Mortal Kombat 1, confirming Li Mei, Tanya, and Baraka as playable characters, and Goro and Darius as cameo fighters. The companies also announced that Omni-Man, Quan Chi, Peacemaker, Ermac, Homelander, and Takeda will be included as part of the downloadable content Kombat Pack. Main roster and cameo fighters include, for the main roster, you get Li Mei, Tanya, Baraka, as we said. Cameo fighters are Darius. The Kombat Pack main roster includes Quan Chi, Ermac, Takeda, Peacemaker, Omni-Man, and Homelander. And then the cameo fighters are Farah, Johnny Cage, Chameleon, Movado, and Tremor. And then you get a skin, the Jean-Claude Van Damme skin for Johnny Cage. So I'm definitely buying this 100%. I'm going for it. I am getting pretty excited about Mortal Kombat 1. Jordan, how about you?
Mate, I'm friends with someone that's working on it, and I text them every couple of days when I think about Mortal Kombat 1 and just go,
oh, oof.
Come on now.
Yeah. What you doing over there?
Now. I'm ready. I'm ready to love again. I think those Mortal Kombat games are great. I'm not someone that gets, my competitive fighting game of choice is always Street Fighter, because that's gaming perfection. That is gaming chess.
Sure.
But The story modes in Mortal Kombat, can't wait. Really looking forward to going through that. And I think this one, just the cinematics and stuff like that, they've got this down so well, like to such a science that's so far ahead of every other like fighting games story equivalent. We've had a bumper year. We're getting Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat this year. I mean, come on, come on now.
Yeah, eating pretty good, eating well over here. I think I'm going to, on this site, on giantbomb.com, I'm going to play through 9, 10, and 11, the stories, because I've only started each one a little bit. And so I'm going to do them back to back to back and hopefully get them all done by the time one is out. That's the plan. We'll start that in early August.
That's a good question. Slane McAwesome asks in the chat, is Cena voicing Peacemaker?
I think so. Yes, I think that's, I'm pretty sure that they got John Cena for that. And I think they got J.K. Simmons for Omni-Man. So it's if they're getting to get J.K. Simmons, you should be able to get John Cena. Like, just tell him.
Someone needs to do a game with Cena. Like, Cena is fantastic. I think a game with him, maybe the load to record that much voiceover wouldn't work with his schedule right now, but
a new Matt Hazard game starring John Cena. That's what we need.
I mean, the rumor was always he was going to be Duke Nukem in the film. So like, if we're going to bring back
there,
Duke,
you go.
Come on.
I would like that. People in chat trying to come up. I was trying to come up with a name as well for my Mortal Kombat feature as well. Grubb told Jeff Bat.
Good. Okay. That's it.
Why not?
Game over. That's us.
I guess we figured it out. You know what? Let's do one last one. Pokemon Sleep players found out that the game is recording their farts. This comes from Alex Hopley at Game Reactor. Pokemon Sleep is the latest app from the franchise targeting everyday activities and combining them with the pocket monsters. However, users have been reporting that the app is not only records how you sleep, but the noises you make at night. That includes sleeping and farting. As Pokemon Sleeps record everything over a certain volume, their flatulent outbursts have been kept to monitor when the user wakes up. Luckily, these clips don't last for more than a day, but some have found it incredibly embarrassing. Listen, this is natural. Your body needs to, expel gases. There's nothing wrong with it. No shame. Other than you're a dirty sinner, and now we have recorded evidence. We know what you do at night, and we're going to show it to your family. So yes, you should be embarrassed. Jordan, you've been using Pokemon Sleep?
I have. I'm disappointed in the app. As a Pokemaniac myself, yes. I'm literally fucking surrounded by Pokemon.
I know. I see those stories on VGC about pop-up shop in London. There's a pop-up shop in London right now. I got to go buy something.
There was a pop-up shop in London, and I got this deck box right here, which was very nice. A gift from the Pokemon company. But Pokemon Sleep, the issue is, and it's a sleep tracking app. I think it's mental that it asks you to plug your phone in and put it on a mattress, as if that's not going to burn your house down one of these days. Like, I think first of all,
what's it on the mattress? Because it's not okay with just being on a table next to the bed.
No, it needs to feel the rumbling, Jeff. It needs to feel
it doesn't want to hear those farts. It wants to feel those farts. It's a dirty little app.
And the problem is, the person that I was sleeping next to, we put our apps down, and then
Jim Ryan.
Me and Jim Ryan, we're sitting chilling next to each other, and but then we sat and talked shit for like an hour after that, and it was recording all of this. So the next day when we're listening to our recordings, it's just us like cackling away. Or so cheap plug already. If you listen to this week's episode of VGC, a video game podcast, right at the end you will hear a noise. Oh, Chewbone's away. I'm just gonna hold him here. Right at the end of VGC, a video game podcast, you will hear a recording of me singing in my sleep like an opera singer. I would very much recommend going and listening to that. That's the kind of thing that Pokemon Sleep records for me. Nothing else. It's just me going like, and also you don't really get that many Pokemon every day. Like, I'm getting like 3, and look, I sleep like shit. Come on, people on this website know how much of an energy drink fan I am. I'm keeping the tradition alive.
Yep. Energy drinks are better than sleep. You don't need to sleep if you drink enough. Yeah.
So I'm getting like 6 hours in Pokemon Sleep's being like, that's not quite enough. So yeah, it's a very judgmental app. I'm more of a Pokemon Go man.
Yeah. What do you think is like next for them? I think they should do a Pokemon auto chess game. Just fucking rip the Band-Aid off. Go whole hog. That's what we need.
Do you know what they should? Right, we forgot to welcome to the Pokemon broadcast. What they really need to do is do a 2D game, a pixel art 2D RPG like it was a Game Boy Advance game or a DS game or something
Crazy,
like
that can
that.
never work.
That would be stunning. Pokken 2, maybe, but see, an actual pixel art RPG. The main Game Freak team can go and make Pokemon like Indigo and Violet or whatever. They can make Violet's already one. Indigo and what's another color, Jeff? Brown. Indigo and brown. They can do
the
the
two
next Pokemon
colors,
games.
everybody.
But something like that, where it's like there's only 150 Pokemon in the game. There's not a world the size of Assassin's Creed Odyssey in it. It's just this contained story. That's what they need to do, and they need to make Pokemon Emerald playable on Nintendo Switch. They need to make a Heart Gold Soul Silver playable on Nintendo Switch. Ishihara, I'm talking to you, brother. This is a rag sheet, brother.
Amen. Yes, I'm backing up everything Jordan said.
Yeah, there we go. The
Yes.
Pokemoniacs are together. The Indigo and Brown sounds like that thing where it's like, this is what like a bisexual girlfriend and her a golden retriever boyfriend look like. The Indigo and Brown, just like that's what it sounds like to me. Okay, all right. The poll question from sometime in the past. Let's check this out. We had I asked, are you upset that the Borderlands movie won't have a Randy Pitchford cameo in it? 34% said yes, I'm devastated by this lack of real magic. 66% said no, I should not have to suffer a magician. Listen, I voted no on that one as well, everybody. I'm right there with you.
Do you want to hear a fun Randy Pitchford fact?
I absolutely do. While you also tell us where we can find you. Do both.
Okay, every so often on VGC, we will get a massive spike in traffic just to the Randy Pitchford page, and we have no idea.
Oh my God. GamesBeat had the Randy Pitchford story would always pop up. 1000% he's paying for that. He is paying to get more traffic to Randy Pitchford stuff. This is my conspiracy theory. You'll never convince me otherwise. That's what's happening.
Well, you can find me and all my Randy Pitchford X's on X.
Mike's popping off in chat because he knows. Yes, he knows.
X.com/Jordan Midler to follow me over there. I got one of those B-Sky things and immediately forgot my password, so don't fucking bother following me over there because I'm not going to use it.
I'm only going to at you on Booski. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'm on it. My Instagram's private. Threads, Jordan Midler, whatever. Just leave me alone.
Cares?
Leave me alone. You get enough of me here, okay?
I don't want to like do this, but like I did just load up Twitter and the fucking logo's the goddamn X.
Yeah.
What a fucking dumb piece of shit.
What a legend. Honestly, the most this like Andy Kaufman style performance art of the
That's what's happening. You're right. Bravo.
He's the greatest of all time. Also come to VGC because we've got a full team. This week on the VGC podcast, Andy and Chris return. I'm going to be talking to them all about their perverted acts in Japan over the past 2 weeks. So that'll be good fun.
They're perverted tourism, I'm sure. All right. Yeah. New poll question. We'll get to this on Wednesday. We have the Bombcast tomorrow. So on Wednesday, we will discuss, do you have an 8K TV? Yes, no, and no, but I would get one for a PS5 Pro. Those are your options. I'm curious to discuss that, which we will do here on giantbomb.com. Speaking of Giant Bomb, we have some stuff happening this week. Bombcast on Wednesday after GMM. We will do a Blake Club because I'm off on Thursday and Friday. We're probably going to, and Game This Morning will probably take that time off. I'll be off Thursday, Friday, and Monday. I'll come back the following Wednesday and on the Bombcast and stuff like that. So look out for all that. In the meantime, Jordan, thank you so much for spending today talking to me about video games, man. I super appreciate it.
Of course, brother. On Thursday and Friday, I'm just going to take over this feed and rant into the camera. Just a one shot, just me talking for 60 minutes.
Yeah, you just tell Jen that you want to go ham on Pokemon, and he'll just turn it on for you and walk away.
What was the name of that ridiculous? Is it Rush Limbaugh? Was that the American guy, the conservative guy that would just sit there and go like?
That's one of them for sure. Yes.
Yeah, I'm Giant Bomb's Rush Limbaugh.
We've always said this about you. And thank you, everybody, for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.